I'm joined here by Dean Baker. He's the director of the left-leaning Center for Budget and Policy Priorities, and also joined by Doug Holtz-Eakin. He, of course, former CBO director and also a member of the Financial Crisis Inquiry Commission, both here to talk about the Bush tax cuts, whether they should be allowed to expire or whether some of them should be maintained. And Dean Baker, let me start with you first of all. I want to ask you about the Bush tax cuts. Alan Greenspan says, let them expire. We need to focus on the deficit. What's your response to that?
Well, I'm not sure why anyone's still listening to Alan Greenspan at this point. I mean, he took his greatest disaster in 70 years. And if you go back to 2001, he supported these tax cuts because he was worried that we would pay off the debt too quickly. So, but that aside, I mean, I think basically President Obama's formulation on this is right, that we would let the tax cuts for higher-end earners expire, people earning over $250,000 a year, but leave the other cuts in place. And I say that because we need the stimulus right now. In principle, I might be open to saying, agreeing with Alan Greenspan, but 2011, 2012, we need this money in the economy. We're still looking at very high rates of unemployment. There are other ways to get the stimulus in principle, but given the politics, I think this is the easiest way.
Center for Economic Policy Research. Let me correct that first of all. Doug, you've got a very different view on this, and you offered your view to members of the Senate Finance Committee the other day. Your take on this?
Well, certainly what I agree with Dean about is that the chairman's gone from being wrong about monetary policy to being wrong about fiscal policy in this case. The cut should be extended. The most important thing to recognize is this economy is growing, but growing too slowly to be satisfactory. The heart of better growth is going to be business spending. It's going to be net exports. Households and governments are too strapped to do this. As a result, you got to worry about a tax climate where we are going to hit some businesses who get taxed as individuals. There's a lot of uncertainty about that. They should extend these things, especially the pro-growth portions. Dividends, capital gains, marginal rates are important. They shouldn't be raising those.
But, Doug, the argument here is for austerity. Look what's happening in Europe. These governments are clamping down right now, and the message from markets is the U.S. should clamp down as well.
And if you look at our problems, they are spending problems. Raising taxes doesn't solve a spending problem. You've got to actually control spending. And the real evidence of how this won't fix our budget deficits is the Obama budget, which takes this policy, raise taxes on those above $250,000 or $200,000, and still produces deficits over $700 billion as far as the eye can see. So this isn't going to solve our budget problems. It's just going to hurt the economy.
Dean, I want you to pick up on that, and specifically, again, this argument that Doug and others would make, listen, not just those making less than $250,000 a year, those making more than $250,000 a year, they should have their extensions as well.
Okay, well, first off, in terms of the market saying we have a budget problem, they don't. I mean, the interest rate on 10-year treasuries is around 3%. We have people saying that the markets are going to say that we have budget problems, but the markets are not saying that right now. So this is just speculation about something that may happen in the future. Now, in terms of, giving the money to higher-end earners, you go back to the Clinton years. We had plenty of investment, plenty of growth, and they were paying these higher tax rates. We're just going back to the tax rates of the Clinton years. So it seems pretty hard to argue that somehow if we had the tax rates that were in place in 98, 99, 2000, the economy is growing very rapidly when we have a lot of investment, that somehow that's going to wreck the economy.
Doug, those were the boom times, were they not?
So Dean is arguing we should go back to an era when there was actually some real tight discretionary spending policies. I agree with that. But he also wants to go back to a dot-com bubble. He wants to rely on getting a big peace dividend out of the Cold War collapsing. None of that's going to happen. We're in a place now where the proper formulation is we have to grow and grow as fast as we can. There should be a ruthless attention to growth. There are millions of people unemployed, and we have an obligation in terms of debt, in terms of the next generation, where we have to make this economy strong again. Raising taxes on business incomes at this point in time is anti-growth, and it's at odds with our long-run need for tax reform.